Well, Michael Schumacher, thank you very much for inviting us to the launch of the Michael Schumacher World Champion Tower. We'll talk about that shortly, of course. But first, I'd like to get your take on the current state of play in the Formula One World Championship. 3 races to go. And, of course, Lewis Hamilton from McLaren leading Felipe Massa of Ferrari by 7 points. Who's going to be the winner at the end of the season?
You know, my heart is still 100% Ferrari. So I'm afraid for the English fans, I cheer up for Felipe, and having 2 great drivers in our team, I hope we can make life difficult enough to be up front by the end of the season.
Part of making life difficult for Hamilton, of course, will be reminding him that he failed at the final hurdle last season.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will be mentioned often enough to him, so I'm not sure we need to get into it any further.
But I mean, you've also, of course, got Massa on his home track for the final race of the season in Sao Paulo. I mean, although Hamilton has that 7-point lead, there are plenty of advantages going Massa's way as the season comes to its climax.
You know, 7 points in a way is better to have them, but on the other side, it doesn't mean it's secure, because championship is fully open. We have 2 drivers, very strong drivers, that they can support each other. I see both drivers extremely motivated, despite the fact whether one race is in Brazil or not. And it will be very interesting to watch. I love to watch it myself, but I cross my fingers naturally for the 2 red ones.
What about Lewis Hamilton first? How do you rate him as a driver?
Well, if somebody can fight for a world championship, then he must be a very good driver. So this is natural, but we have quite a few good drivers now around in the Formula One business, and I think this is what is why it always has been so interesting to watch Formula One, and why if you look worldwide, the viewers and the interest and the followers of Formula One is due to this reason. And now we have a good group of young drivers there around, and they have a great battle.
It's a bit more of a level playing field than when you were winning your 5 successive championships for Ferrari, in a way, isn't it? I mean, you're saying that it's more interesting now because of that, because there isn't a dominant figure in the sport?
No, I have not said it's more interesting, but I have said it has always been interesting in all the years, because Formula One history is for a long time. And if I'm correct, when I was driving, I had guys around me like Ayrton Senna, Nigel Mansell, Alain Prost, and. So I have lived or went through several generations during my time, and there have been exciting moments in more or less difficult periods.
What a British audience, of course, would like to know, and maybe a worldwide audience as well, is whether either Hamilton or Massa or anybody else on the Formula One season at the moment is capable of getting the kind of consistency that you got. 7 world championships, 5 of them in a row. I mean, do they have that kind of dedication, that kind of passion?
It's something that I don't think it is possible to be answered by me right now. But the fact is that records are there to be beaten. People haven't thought, and neither myself, I thought I would beat the Fangio record of 5 championships. And so I did. So who knows who is the one that is going to go above what I did.
But do you detect elements of Hamilton's personality, for example, which remind you of you?
I guess it's natural that you as British, you talk about Hamilton. I guess we have quite a few other race drivers around, and we just have a new German star coming up with Sebastian Vettel. We have Felipe Massa.
What do they call him? Baby Schumi, don't they?
They Vettel? Do, unrightly, I think, because he simply is Sebastian Vettel. No, but the matter of fact is there is great characters, there's great drivers. You have still Fernando Alonso in the field, and it's great to see. You see, it's one thing is about records, but you have to look at the phase of what happens right now. When I was active, I didn't think about beating the record of Fangio. I was just living the time that I was doing, and championship by championship, race by race. That was my focus, and by the end, I did what I did, and so. It's no point to put people under further pressure or under comparisons that maybe right now is the wrong time for it.
But we're interested, of course, in Hamilton, not just because he's British, but because internationally he's top of the pile. He's leading the World Drivers' Championship. I mean, just an indication as to...
No, I mean, as I said at the beginning, if you lead the World Championship in Formula One, you must be very good. I mean, there's no doubt. Whether he is the best or he's not the best or what he is, I don't think it is right to say this so far, because he's pretty young, and it will be shown in the future, not right now.
But what defines him as a driver, would you say? What skills does he have?
He's capable of driving fast. That is the most important. But it's difficult for me to get into the details, because I don't know what is actually happening inside the team. And I've always refused to comment on good or bad results of whatever driver that I don't know the details of, because you can be so wrong, as people have been very often wrong about my own judgment and the situations that had happened.
But nevertheless, at Ferrari, of course, they must be building a profile of their chief adversary this season.
We have one aim, that is since '99 to win championships. Except 2005, we were in the position, and that's where we want to be this year in, and we want to be in future in. You can't win all of them, but I think it's a great achievement to be in the position to do it for so long. I don't think anybody has been capable of doing so. On top, if you consider Ross Brawn, mind of master, and Jean Todt, partly involved, myself, I'm gone. So
this is the technical team.
It's an important step that has happened, and still we won the championship, because what we have left was a base of stability in order to continue.
I'm going to take you back to the Belgian Grand Prix, a very controversial Grand Prix, in which, of course, Hamilton got a 25-second penalty, was relegated to third. If that hadn't happened, he'd be, I think, 13 points clear of Massa now, and in a sense, the championship might be regarded as almost over. What was your take on that incident?
Well, if Felipe hadn't blown the engine, then maybe the thing would have been different in Hungary. So I think there's many ways you can look at things, but in the end you have to look at what it is.
The problem about that was that the fans also didn't like it, and I'm not talking just about British fans. On the internet, an international medium, of course. Let me just quote you a few quotes here. "Right now I couldn't care less," wrote one fan, "if Formula One did not continue as a sport. Incredible, the championship is fixed," wrote another. Okay, it's not a scientifically based sample, but it's a kind of litmus test now of how fans are getting a little bit disillusioned, if you like, with the way that Formula One is being run and regulated.
No, I mean, I sort of see your point, but you may have to see the other side, because I'm pretty sure there'll be probably comments they've been completely in the opposite direction, that right now you don't have on your list. Again, I mean, it is what it is decided. From one point of view, you may argue and you have the comments that you have here. From another point of view, you have completely different comments. I'm not there to judge it. I simply have faced myself this situation, and I had to say to myself, listen, it is what it is, and I have to keep on racing. If I want to win it, then I just have to do a better job, and I have to, follow certain guidelines. I mean, in the past, when I was driving with Mansell, Prost, Senna, and so on, weaving on the straight was normal. I mean, really, you want to overtake on the right, they're close on the right. You go to the left, they're close on the left. It was forbidden after some time. Quite rightly, it was forbidden after some time. You now have a clear rule, you change once the line, and that's it. But there have been moments it wasn't so clear, and then at one moment somebody was penalized for something that you were allowed to do up to that moment, but you were no further allowed to do it in future on. And I think it is important that you have to have certain guidelines, and you always have to create new guidelines, because there always happen new incidents.
Yes.
Because if you take Spa, for example, it's one of the more modern tracks now in terms of runoff areas. In the old days, there would have been a huge curb, there would have been a gravel bed, there would have been a wall, or there would have been something, and you wouldn't have had the chance to continue. Now there is. So you have to see it from that perspective. Tracks are changing, and what, if you looked at incident, what could maybe be developed from that incident? What other circumstances might appear that they then be an unfair circumstance or not? So I think it is it is an open or mind that you have to have about it, and judge it from an open mind.
One particular criticism that emerged from